Hello everyone, good morning. Am I audible? Perfect. Okay, so let's begin with the session, guys. Let's begin with the session. Uh, what are we supposed to discuss in today's session? Okay, it's going to be a very important topic for you all. Okay, so what is it going to be like? Okay, let us try to talk about in today's session here. Okay, so yes, let us try to understand. Okay. So now guys, in the previous sessions, in the previous sessions here, we all have understood, okay, what is the basic concepts of Java, okay. So all we have done is we are done with all the basic concepts, guys, okay. The firstly, we understood what are variables, okay, and data types as well, right? So we understood what are variables and data types as well, followed by we are done with operators, clear, and then we are done with conditional statements and looping statements, okay. So variables, data types, operators, conditional statements, looping statements, all the basic foundation is done, okay. So now here you are supposed to be strong enough in all the basic concepts. Why? Because you'll be having your mock anytime soon, okay. With the topics which I've done till yesterday, you'll be having one mock test, okay. So you need to prepare for it, okay. So we want quality from our side as well as your side, right? So you'll be having a mock test anytime soon. I'll be scheduling it to you all, okay. But make sure you study all of those, and if at all you come across any doubts anywhere here, just let me know here, okay. I'll try to explain it to you, okay. Perfect. So what is the concept we are going to touch today, sir? We are getting into the core part of Java, that is object oriented programming, okay. Object oriented programming is the topic which we are getting to do now, okay. We are getting into the core part of Java today, from today. So it's going to be a lot of fun, okay, and a lot of seriousness from today onwards, okay. Great. So first of all, we have to understand what is an object here. We have to understand what is an object here, okay. Whenever you talk about an object, what is it, okay? So I'll tell you here. Object is nothing but anything which is present in the real world, okay, and it is also having some physical existence. They all can be termed as an object, okay. For example, if you talk about an object here, I tell car as an object. How? Car is present in the real world, okay, and it is physically existing, correct? Car is a part of real world and it is physically existing, therefore car is an object, clear? Similarly, what about laptop? Is laptop an object here? 101% yes. Why? Because laptop is present in real world and it is also physically existing here, therefore laptop is an object, okay. What about pen? Pen is an object. What about human being? Human being and as an object, okay. Human being, okay, and so on. We can have n number of objects here. Got the clarity here? So whenever we talk about an object, what is an object basically, guys? An object is nothing but a real world entity, okay. It's a real world entity, meaning it should be a part of real world and it should be physically existing. Only then we can term it as an object here. Clear? Now, whenever we consider any object, okay, it doesn't matter. Whenever we consider any object here, it will definitely have certain properties, okay. Every object you consider will definitely have certain properties here. So what are those properties categorized into, sir? Those properties are majorly categorized into two types. One is called as states. We call it as what? One is called as states and other one is called as behavior. Okay, we call it as what? Behavior. Got the clarity here? Every object will have certain properties and those properties are generally classified into states and behaviors. Okay. what are states? Oh, okay, what are states? States are nothing but, okay, which is used to store some data. Okay, whenever we talk about states, states are nothing but used to store some data. Okay, store data. Okay, sir, I'll tell you. Behavior to perform some task. Okay, to perform some task. That is what we call it as states and behaviors. So states are the properties used to store some data, and behavior are the properties used to perform some task, meaning anything which involves functionality can be treated as a behavior. Okay, but now let us see a couple of examples here so that we could relate it in the best possible way here. Okay, now I will consider, okay, car as an object. Can I consider car as an object here? 101% yes. Why? Because car is present in real world and it is also having some physical existence. Got the clarity here? I can definitely term car as an object. So when I consider car as an object, it will definitely have certain states and it will have definitely have certain behaviors. Okay, we are supposed to understand. Okay, now what are certain states and behaviors of car here? Okay, let me explain it to you with a beautiful example. When I consider car as an object, what are the states of a car here? Okay, the first one is every car will have something called as company who will manufacture. Correct? Maruti, Suzuki, Honda, okay, Audi, Ferrari, blah 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 blah. Every car will have the company name. Correct? It is something, some data here. Every car will have something called as color. What is the color of the car? Every car will have the cost. What is the cost of the car? Okay, so and blah blah blah. We can have n number of properties. Similarly, whenever you talk about the behaviors, it is used to perform some task. Correct? For example, if I want to start the car, okay, if I want to start the car here, am I performing some task or am I storing some data here? I am performing some task. For example, if I want to start the car here, what am I supposed to do? I have to insert the key, I have to start the car, meaning I am performing some task here. I am performing some action here. Correct? If I want to stop the car, okay, if I want to stop the car here, again I am making use of energy here. I'm utilizing energy, meaning I have to press the brake pedal, right? So I am performing some task. Correct? Similarly, I want to shift gears. Okay, what is my requirement here? I want to shift gears. Again, I am performing some task here. Clear? So and so on, we can have n number of behaviors. So basically speaking, what is an object? Object is nothing but, okay, object is nothing but anything which is present in real world can be termed as an object. Okay, anything which is a part of real world and physically existing can be termed as an object. Correct? If you could look towards your left and right, everywhere we are surrounded with objects. Correct? If you're sitting on a chair here, okay, on a chair here, it's an object. Laptop is an object. Mobile phone is an object. Okay, everywhere, you talk about objects, we are surrounded by objects. Correct? And every object you consider here, it will definitely have certain properties. Those properties are majorly classified into two types. What is it? States and behaviors. What are states here? States are the properties used to store some data. When I tell company, is it BMW, Audi, Maruti, Suzuki, so on, I'm storing some data. Color, red color, black color, blue color, I'm storing some data. Cost, 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs, I'm storing some data. So states are used to store some data, whereas behaviors are used to perform some task. Correct? Such as if I want to start the car, I am performing some task, functionality. If I want to stop the car, if I want to shift gears, it means I am performing some action. It involves functionality. So these are all called as behaviors. Can we take one more example here for better understanding here? Absolutely yes. So if you want, you can take the object as mobile. Okay, is mobile an object here? 101% yes. How, sir? Mobile is present in real world and it is physically existing. So it's a real world entity, therefore mobile is an object. So when we consider mobile as an object, will it have properties here? Definitely it will have certain properties, and those properties are majorly classified into two types, that is states and behaviors. Okay, those properties are generally classified into what? States and behavior. Okay, now. So now, what are the states of a mobile phone? Okay, every mobile phone will have brand, correct? Nokia, Samsung, Apple, blah 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 blah. Okay, every mobile phone will have the price. Okay, what is the price of that mobile phone? Correct? And what is the RAM size? Correct? We also have something called as RAM size. Okay, and so on. We can have n number of states here. Brand. As I told you, Nokia, Samsung, Oppo, Vivo, OnePlus, Apple, blah blah. You name it, we have 1,000 brands. Price 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. It keeps on ranging. RAM 4 GB, 8 GB, 12 GB, 16 GB, blah 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 blah. The RAM size. So states are used to store some data. What about the behaviors here? What about the behaviors? Sir, if I want to call someone, okay, I am performing some task. How? I have to take the phone, I have to dial their number, and I have to call them. I am performing some task. Correct? I want to text someone. Okay, I want to text someone. So again, I have to open phone, open WhatsApp, I have to type the message, and I have to send them. So I am performing some task. Correct? I want to play games. Okay, again, I'm doing some task. I open the phone, I open that particular game, and I start playing game. Right? So now, whenever we talk about behaviors, they are used to perform some task. States are used to store the data here. This is what we are supposed to understand when it comes to object, states, and behaviors. Got it? So this is one of the most important, the basic foundation for your OOPS concept, object-oriented programming, object-oriented principles. Correct? So this is all about the entire data. But you might have one question here. Sir, this is Java, sir. How is this theoretical concept, relatable? Okay, object, states, behaviors. This is all with respect to real world aspects, sir. But how is it related to Java? How is it related to programming? Okay, I have the answer for it. In programming perspective, okay, object name we generally consider as class name. The object name we generally consider as what? Class name. And the states we generally refer it as variables, or we also call them as data members. Okay, states we generally call it as variables or data members, and behaviors we call it as methods. Okay, or we also call it as functions. We call it as methods as behaviors as methods or functions here. This is what we are supposed to understand when it comes to programming perspective. Clear everyone here? We understood what is an object, we understood what are states, and we understood what are behaviors. Clear? So in programming perspective, object name is nothing but class name, states are nothing but variables, and behaviors are nothing but methods. This is what we are supposed to understand when it comes to the data here. Clear? Got it? Right. So now, as and when we understand this particular topic here, the next thing that will come to our mind is, sir, what is a class? Okay. The first thing which will come to your mind is, sir, what is a class here? So the first and the famous bookworm, okay, bookish answer we have here is, sir, class is a blueprint of an object. Okay, as and when you Google it over the net here, okay, surf over the net here, or if you could Google it, you will find this answer. Okay, sir, class is nothing but the blueprint of an object here. What do you mean by blueprint? What do you mean by blueprint? See, if I'm going to construct a house, okay, the blueprint of the house is nothing but it is going to indicate how the house is going to look like. Correct? I repeat, if I'm going to construct a house, when I tell the blueprint of a house, it is going to indicate or represent how the house is going to look like. Clear? Similarly over here, a class is nothing but it is going to indicate how the object is going to look like. It's a logical entity. Okay, class is a logical entity. Clear? Or in other words, I can also write it's a platform. Okay, what is it? It's a platform to store variables and methods here. For example, let me consider one beautiful example. I have a class, correct? Imagine this is my class. This is my class. Okay, now I have states and behaviors, correct? Every object will have properties called as states and behaviors. States are called as variables and behaviors are called as methods, correct? Every object will have states and behaviors. No, where will I store it? I will store it within the class here. So what is a class? Class is a platform to store states and behaviors, variables and methods of a particular object. Clear? So these are the two things which you need to understand, right? We also write this as a logical entity. Class is a logical entity. It does not occupy any space here for execution. Okay. Class is a logical entity as well. Okay. Got the clarity here? So now let me repeat this entire process for better understanding perspective. Okay. Now what am I trying to do here? We kick-started the session with something called as class, right? Class is a blueprint of an object. Okay. What is blueprint of an object, sir? So in simple terms, class is going to represent or indicate how the object is going to look like. So when I tell blueprint of a house, it's going to tell, oh, how the house is going to look like, right? Similarly, class is the blueprint of an object. It's going to tell how the object is going to look like, correct? Or in other words, if you don't like the first definition, or in other words, it's a platform. Class is a platform wherein I can store the states and behaviors of an object, variables and methods of a particular object. So if I have states and behaviors, where am I storing it? I am storing it within the class here. So it's a platform to dump everything, right? Or we also call it as a logical entity as well. Class is a logical entity, not physical entity. Okay. So this is with respect to class. Okay. And then how do we create a class here? Okay. Class has to be declared using a keyword called as, okay. Whenever we talk about class, right? Class will be declared using a keyword called as class itself. Okay. Whenever we want to create a class, we have to make use of a keyword called as class only, right? And then the next point here is class can also act as a data type. Keep this thing in your mind. Okay. Class can also act as a data type. What is the meaning of all those? We will try to understand in the coming days, but you will not understand everything in a single day. As the session moves on, you will relate each and every topic here. Clear? Now, how will I write the syntax? Syntax is very easy and you people are aware of it as well, correct? Class has to be declared using a keyword called as class, followed by I have to give the class name. Look at the naming convention, the naming standard which I follow. Minute things which you need to observe, okay? And then open curly braces and close curly braces. And what do we call this as? This is nothing but the scope of a class. What is this? This is nothing but scope of a class. So now within the class, what can I store? Okay, within the class, I can store variables. Okay, I can store blocks, methods here. I can store methods. I can store blocks. I can store constructors. Everything in Java, okay, has to be returned within this entire class only. Class followed by class name. And within the class here, you will write variables, methods, blocks, and constructors. Clear? Now, if you talk about an example, sir, can we have a couple of examples, sir? Yes, I will have an example. Okay, if I create a class, and what is the class name? I'll create the class name as car. Okay, open curly braces, close curly braces. This is the scope of a car class. So what is the class name I have considered? The class name which I have considered is car here. Okay. So now, since the class name is car, it's an object. Car is an object. So all the properties of car, I am storing it within the class car. Got it? I told you, right? Object name is considered as class name. So when I consider car as my class name, okay, car will have certain properties, no? Where will I store it? I will store it within the class here. So therefore, it is a platform to store the states and behaviors of an object. So this is what we are supposed to understand when it comes to object-oriented principle of programming. Clear? Understood? We need to talk about a lot many topics here, but slowly I will revise it once, whatever we did now, and then we'll get back into the programming aspect as well. Clear? Right. Now here, what did we start the session with? Guys, the last 1 or 1.5, 2 weeks, whatever we had here, we are done with the basic things. Okay? And trust me, if you are strong in your basic concepts, okay, if you're strong enough in your basic concepts, and if you're practicing it gradually over here, trust me, Java will be your favorite subject and you will start liking Java. Basics everyone would have understood, correct? The only thing here is we need to practice it once. Once we have that hands-on feel, that is when it becomes easy going ahead. Okay. And I would also conduct mock anytime soon. Okay. I'll plan up, but make sure you prepare well. Okay. Don't screw up and don't create a mess. Prepare well. I don't want you all to become like others. I want you all to start preparing now so that getting an interview will be easy and getting a job ultimately will also be easy. Clear? Great. Now, we started the session with something called as what? We started the session with something called as object-oriented programming. I'm going to start. Okay, we started with object-oriented programming, the core part of Java. What is an object, guys, basically? Sir, object is nothing but it is a part of real world and it is physically existing. Okay, we call those as object, a real world entity. I took examples such as car, laptop, pen, human being, monkey, donkey, blah 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 blah. You can take any number of objects, correct? And whenever we consider an object, it will definitely have certain properties. And those properties are mainly categorized into two types, states and behaviors. What are states? States are used to store some data. Behaviors are used to perform some task, functionality. Clear? But how is this topic related to Java, sir? How is this topic related to programming, sir? Object name is considered as class name. States are referred as variables or data members, and behaviors are referred as methods or functions. Clear? And we took out an example here. We considered what? Class and mobile as an object, and we differentiated what are states and what are behaviors. Clear? And then we kick started with something called as class. We knew, okay, we knew how do we write a Java program and we know what is class. But in today's session, you understood in detail. Correct? What is the first definition I told? It's a blueprint of an object. Okay. Meaning if I've taken the class name as car, it is going to tell how the car is going to look like. It's a blueprint of an object. If I've taken the class name as car, it is going to tell how the car is going to look like. Or it's a platform. Okay. If I've taken the class name as car, all the car related properties, I have to store it within the class here. And it's a logical entity, not physical entity. Clear? And if you have to create a class, we have to declare it with a keyword called as class. Okay. And class can also act as a data type that we will understand later. We saw the syntax and we saw the example. Clear? This is all about object and classes. Now we have to see a lot many topics here. We will talk about it. But as of now, anyone having any questions here? Okay. Any questions, anyone here? Any questions? And if you all don't reply, no, I'm gonna kill you seriously. Okay. Reply, respond. Okay. Any questions, anyone? You want me to repeat the topic? Very good. Okay. Perfect, guys. Thank you. Thank you for your response. Okay. Okay. So now there's one question. Okay. There's one question. Uh, why it is called as oops. Okay, why do we call Java as oops? Okay, the reason is because, okay, everything is related. Okay, everything is related with respect to objects here. If as the session goes on, you'll understand. Okay, why do we call it as object oriented programming language? Java is an object oriented programming language. Why? Because everything is all about objects here. I told you whatever clarity I gave you now. See, objects are nothing but real world entity. We are going to relate everything to real world aspect, okay, and trying to derive some solution. That is the reason we call it as object oriented. Okay, so every programming languages, as of now, Python, Java is into object oriented. JavaScript has moved. Okay, there are lot many languages which is object oriented now. Okay, what are constructors and methods? It's all the coming topics. Okay, a few days you need to wait for it. Variables you understood. Methods, blocks, constructors, you're not aware of it because I haven't taught it yet. Patience. Okay, now every topics are interdependent here. Okay, and there's one more question. Sir, what is the difference between object and data type here? Okay, so object is different, data type is different. Okay, so I'll talk about that as well in detail. Okay, but because it is something like non-primitive data type. Okay, so we will talk about it in detail here. Okay, don't worry about it. Now, we understood the first half. The second half is that important as well. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about the second topic. Okay. I mean the second part over here. Okay. Now here we will try to talk about this particular topic here. Okay. Now try to relate it, guys. Okay. It's going to be very, very, very important one program for you all. Okay. Now how am I supposed to create a Java program? I have to create a class, correct? Class followed by I have to create a class name. Okay, how will I create a class name? Oh, okay, imagine I create the class name as student. Okay, class name is student, open curly braces and close curly braces. What is a class? What is a class here? Sir, class is a platform to store all the states and behaviors of an object. Okay, what is the class name I have considered? Student. When I consider the class name as student, student will have certain properties, name, age, height, weight, blah 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 blah. All those properties I am storing it within the class here. So class is a platform to store all the states and behaviors of an object, and the class name I've considered it as student. So all the student related properties I am storing it within the class here. Got it? Done. Now here every student, okay, whenever you talk about student, every student will have a property. What is that property? Int is the data type, okay, age is the variable, and the value is 20. So what did you understand, sir? 20 is the value that is getting stored into a variable age, and the data type is int. So I have initialized and stored the value here. Got it? So there is a variable called as age that is storing the value called as 20, which is a non-decimal numeric value. Therefore, it is int here. Similarly, every student will have name also. Name is a set of characters, so I write it as string. String is a set of a data type used to indicate a set of characters, and name is a variable, okay, equals to, okay, I give the name as Dinga. Imagine I give the name as Dinga. The student's name is Dinga here, right? So now here we have two variables, age and name, storing the values 20 and Dinga respectively. And the values are int and string are the respective data types as well. Now here we understood this. But the next thing after I define here is you need to understand if those variables are static variables, okay, are those variables static variables or non-static variables? Okay, what we need to understand if those variables are static variables or non-static variables. Okay, so now here what is static, what is non-static, I will tell you later. But as of now, I just want you to understand how do you identify a static variable and a non-static variable. Okay. So now if I write static int a, equals to 10. Okay, and int a equals to 10. Okay, this is all about it. If a variable is declared using static keyword, it's a static variable. Clear? If a variable is not declared using static keyword, it's a non-static variable. Understood? If you can see a static keyword, it's a static key variable. If you cannot see a static variable, I mean static keyword, then it's a non-static variable. Okay. Now here, if I go back on the top here, just looking at this age and name, are those static variables or non-static variable, guys? Any idea here? Can you tell me here? Okay. Is it static variables or non-static variables? So it's simple. Sir, I am not blind, sir. I'm not blind. I have not used any static keyword. Therefore, it is non-static. Absolutely. It is definitely non-static. Why? Sir, no static keyword, sir. And I'm not blind, sir. I can easily tell it's non-static. Very good. If it is non-static, okay, there is something called as, okay, there is one process. What is that process? That process is called as object creation. Okay, we call this as object creation or instantiation. Okay, we call this as what? Object creation or instantiation. Sir, what is object creation or instantiation, sir? It's very easy. Okay, so now when I have, okay, non-static properties, okay, if I have non-static variables or methods or attributes, okay, if I want to store it in the memory, okay, store it in the memory, we have to always create an object here. Understood the first point here? Whenever I have non-static properties in my class, if I have to explicitly allocate some memory, I have to always create an object here. Clear? And objects are always created inside a memory location, and that memory location is called as heap area. Okay, where are the objects created here? The objects are created inside a memory location called as heap area. And I'll talk about the architecture a bit later, not now. Okay, and then which operator is responsible for creating an object? There is an operator called as new. Okay, new operator is responsible for creating an object. Clear? And then for one class, okay, objects are created for a class, and we can create multiple objects for a respective class here. So here, this all would go over your head only, okay, because I'm just here doing it in theoretical way. But if I practically explain, you will understand. Okay, so let me talk about the syntax of creating an object. Okay, syntax for creating an object. In order to create an object, we have to come across class name, okay, then object reference name. What is this? Object reference name equal to new. You have to write class name of. This is the basic syntax which we need to understand. What is it? If I have to create an object, I have to make use of class name, object name equals to new class name of. For example, okay, for example, sir, if I have a class by the name called as pen, if I have a class by the name called as pen, open curly braces and close. How will I create an object, sir? Okay, how will I create an object, sir? If there is a class called as pen, and we can create an object only for classes. Okay, class name is pen. Okay, pen, and object reference name. You can give it as your name, my name, whatever name you want. Okay, equals to new. And what is the class name? Pen of. We are supposed to create an object in this particular way. Why do we create an object? To store all the non-static properties within the memory. Clear? If at all you have one more class, okay, and the class name is car. Class car. So here, if I want to create an object of car class, how will I create it? class name is car and the object name can be anything. I just give it as C equals to new class name that is car of and terminate using semicolon. This is how we are supposed to create an object. Clear? Why do we create an object? To store all the non-static properties within the memory. And which operator is responsible for creating an object? New operator. Okay. Where does the object get created? Heap area. Can we create multiple objects for a class? Yes. Any number of instances can be created. Right? Now here, I go back to my program. And where will the execution start from basically? Sir, the execution will always start from something called as main method. So in short form, I just write it as public static void main string array of arguments. Okay, now I have created a main method. Okay, don't take in detail public static void main. So you have written it as PSVM. Okay, short form. Okay, now I'm very lazy to write it. Okay, now clear. Now I want to understand the basic flow. So what I'll do here, system dot out dot println, I will just write it as start. Start is nothing but the beginning. Okay, this is nothing but the start. It's an indication. And then at the last, system dot out dot println, I will just write it as end. Clear? So now my execution will always start from main method. As of now, start will get executed and end will get executed. That's it. But now in my Java program, I have two non-static variables. We understood how do we identify non-static variables. So there is non-static variable. So in order to store it within the memory, I have to always create an object. So how will I create an object here? The class name is student. So therefore, class name is student. Okay, student is equals to new student of. Okay, I have to create an object. Student is equals to new student of. Now beautifully concentrate for the next 2 minutes. Okay, if you're sleeping, wake up. Slap yourself, wake up. Okay. Now here, when I tell new, internally an object will get created. Internally, what will happen here? One object will get created. And this object address will be 111. And what is the name of the object here? S. S is pointing to that particular object. When I tell new, an object got created with the address 111. And who is pointing to that object? S is pointing to that object. And why the hell did I create the object here? To store all the non-static properties within the memory. So there is a non-static variable called as age, and that age will get initialized to 20. So now I have allocated some memory for that particular age here. Similarly, and there is one more variable called as name. And then the variable name will also get initialized to Dinga. Okay, which will get initialized to Dinga. So why the hell did I create the object? To store all the non-static properties in the memory. So now when I execute my program, sir, execution will always start from main method, sir. Start will get executed. Okay, start will get executed. Then I created the object. If you create the object, the memory would get created. The non-static properties will get stored or loaded in the memory. And then end. That's it. That's it. So there is only start, object got created, and end. Ashte, mugitu. You're done with the process here. But sir, I want to print the age and name, sir. What am I supposed to do, sir? Okay, I want to store the name and age, sir. What will I do, sir? Very good. In simple terms here, in order to access the name and the age here, we have to make use of, okay, something called as dot operator. In order to access, okay, the attributes here, we have to make use of dot operator here. Okay, what is this, sir? What is this here? I'll tell you. If you want to access any variables, okay, if you want to access any variables, we make use of a syntax. What is the syntax? Object name, okay, object name dot. I have to make use of variable name. What is it? Object name dot variable name. I have to make use of this particular syntax here. Therefore, when I go back to my program here, when I go back to my program over here, this, what is the object name? S. Okay. If I want to access the variable here, I have to tell system.out.println, open parenthesis close, and how am I supposed to access here? S dot age. Age is present within the object. So the object name is S dot, I have to make use of a variable called as age because the age is present within the object S. So I have to tell S dot age. Similarly, if I have to print the name, how will I print it here? System.out.print name. Will I directly write it as name here? No. Why? Sir, the name is present within the object S, sir. So you have to write it as S dot name. So therefore, the output. What will be the output when I execute my Java program now? Sir, the execution will start from main method, sir. Start will get executed. Then the object got created, meaning the memory would get allocated here. Okay, so the memory, this object has got created inside a memory location. What is it memory location called as? Heap area. Heap area is a memory location wherein the objects will get created. So, and I created an object called as S. And then when I tell SOP S dot age, 20 will get printed. SOP S dot name, Dinga will get printed. Okay, and then the end here. This is all about the object creation or instantiation. In simple terms, okay, in simple terms, when I tell create an object or create an instance, it simply means we are creating a copy of a class. Never forget this data. When I tell what is an object here, it's a copy, okay, or an instance of a class, okay, copy or instance of a class, okay. So this is called as object creation or instantiation. So we have understood a lot of important topics over here, but you will get the clarity slowly. Okay, you're learning this for the very first time, no? So you require patience for it. Okay, now don't give up here. Okay, have the patience level. But as of now, anyone having any questions here? Any issues with technicality, anything? Or is it fine here? Anyone having any issues? Ah, okay, great. Okay. Now here, sir, where can we develop a Java program? Sir, you develop wherever you want, but I will do it on Notepad++ today. From tomorrow or day after tomorrow, we'll jump into Eclipse here. Okay. So I open Notepad++. This is the editor which I will be using. Clear? Now here, I have to create a class. How will I create a class? Class followed by, I have to give the class name. I will give the class name as student, open curly braces and close curly braces. Okay, I have created a class called as student, open curly braces, close curly braces. And then, okay, let me save it. Control S. Okay, Control S on the desktop. Okay, I will create one folder. Okay, we have already a folder, I believe. Okay, we have so many folders here. Let me create a folder. Our Java program folder is already there. I open that folder over there. Okay, what will I do here is, wait just a moment, guys, because I have duplication of files here. So just let me remove it. Okay, I'll just select everything. Okay, and Control X, and I will paste it somewhere. Okay, I'll paste it over this particular folder. Yes, replace. Yeah, done. I'm done with this execution, right? Don't worry, I didn't do anything. Okay, just ignore it. Okay, now I have a class called a student, right? I need to save it. Control S. Okay, Control S on the desktop. Okay, I have a folder. What is that folder name? Java programs. I open that. Inside that particular folder, class name and file name should be same, .java, and save as, we are supposed to write it as all files and tell save. So you have saved your Java program successfully. So you have created a class called as student, right? Now every student will have certain properties, correct? What are those certain properties? Sir, every student will have age, sir. I will initialize the age to 20 here. Done? Sir, every student will have name, sir. String name equals to. I will write it as Dinga. Okay, done. Control S. I've saved. So I have created a class and I've initialized two variables called as age and name here. Got it? So I've initialized age and have initialized name. Done? Perfect. Now here, are they non-static variables or static variables? Sir, I am not blind, sir. Okay, just looking at the declaration, I can easily tell here these are non-static variables. How did you conclude? Sir, there is no static keyword, sir. I cannot see at all. Therefore, it is 101% non-static variables. Clear? Done. And the execution will always start from where? My main method, sir. Public static void main. Within parenthesis, it is string array of arguments. Open curly braces and close curly braces is the scope of my main method, sir. And then, in order to print it, I have something called as system.out.println. And what am I supposed to print here? I will just write it as start. Okay, at the beginning, system.out.print start, and then I will write it as end over here, start and end over here. That's it. Now, sir, in my program, in my student class, I have two non-static variables, correct? Since class is a logical entity, those non-static properties has to be explicitly loaded or stored in the memory. For that reason, I need to create an object. How will I create an object? Class name is student. Object name is S equals to new student of. I have to create what? New student of. This is nothing but object creation. What do we call this as? We call this as object creation. Correct? Or we also call it as instantiation. Object creation, we also call it as instantiation. Once we have created the object, we have allocated the memory. Now, if I want to print it, I have to make use of one more print statement. I have to make use of what? I have to make use of print statement. Within this print statement, what am I supposed to do? I just cannot write it as age here and I cannot write it as name here. I just cannot write it as age and name here. Why? Sir, both age and name are non-static properties, sir, and that is present in the object S. So in order to access it, we have to write it as s.age and we have to write it as s.name here. This is all about the entire process here. Clear everyone? So now we got the basic idea about this entire process. Now in order to execute it, what am I supposed to do here? In order to execute it, I have to open command prompt. So how will I open command prompt? Sir, go to the folder where you have stored your Java program, sir. I open that folder and here I'm just supposed to write it as what? CMD. I have to search for CMD. Once I search for CMD here, the command prompt will appear in a beautiful manner. So the command prompt will appear in that specific directory itself. Correct. Now I need to execute it. Correct. I need to execute my Java program. So how will I compile? Java C student.java Java C student.java. Compilation will be successful and then I need to interpret it as well. Java student. When I compile and interpret it, look at the output what I get. Start object got created s dot name s dot age is 20, s dot name is Dinga, and then end here. If I just write it as age and name, look at the output what I get here. I compile my Java program as well as I will interpret. Okay, oh, I've compiled. See, non-static variable cannot be referred from a static constant. In simple terms, it's telling, hey, age is non-static, name is non-static. You cannot directly access it, okay, na? You have to make use of object name. So you have to write it as s dot name and s dot age here. Clear? So that way, I can do this into one more way as well. See, I'll do it in a beautiful manner here. Okay, what am I trying to do here? I'll show it to you. Just a moment. Okay, now wait for it. I will show you what am I trying to do here. Okay, so here I will just print this. Now, if I want to concat here, I can do it in a beautiful manner as well. If I want to concat the data here, how will I concat the data? Simple. Okay, so I will take this. Okay, so I'll write it as, okay, see, age colon, okay, plus h dot age. What is happening in this particular program here? In this particular program here, whatever I give it in double quotes will be displayed as it is, plus h dot age, meaning I am concatenating. Similarly for name, okay, name colon double quotes plus h dot name. So beautifully when I compile my Java program and when I interpret it, just look at the output what I get. See, start, then 20 dinga, age 20, name dinga, and then enter. I got the output in a beautiful manner. This is all about the entire process here. Clear? So this is what we are supposed to understand when it comes to the logical part, right? So even this can also be done in a single line. How, sir? I will do it. See, you can do it in multiple ways, guys. Okay, there are 100 ways of doing it. Okay, so I'll just try to print it. See, I'll tell, uh, see, name s dot name. So when I tell s dot name, dinga will be interpreted. Is, okay, is plus s dot age plus years old. So what did you understand here? What did you understand with this example here? Just tell me here. See, when I tell s dot name, what is s dot name? Dinga. Dinga is 20 years old. Okay, I get it into a beautiful format. See, when I compile my Java program and when I interpret it, can you see the output? Okay, Dinga is 20 years old. I get it into a beautiful format. Okay, so this is all about, okay, accessing. What is this program all about? This program is all about, okay, accessing accessing non-static variables. Okay, accessing non-static variables inside same class. Okay, we are trying to print this non-static variables inside the same class. This is all about the entire output here. Okay, the output also I'll copy paste it over here so that I could send it to you later. Okay, perfect guys. We are done with, okay, one set of example here. Clear? Now similarly, I will tell you one more way. Okay, what is that one more way, sir? See, very simple. I will create one more class. Control N. Okay, what did you do? Control N meaning it will open a new file. I will create a class and the class name is employee. Open curly braces, close. Right? Let me save that file. Control S. Control S, class name and file name should be same and save as Java source file. We have saved the class. What is a class? It's a platform to store all the states and behaviors of an object. The class name I've considered it as employee. So all the employee related properties, I have to store it within the class. So each and every employee will have ID. So I will write it as 101. Clear? Each and every employee will have name equals to, I will store it as Tom. Each and every employee will have salary. Okay, I will store it as 123.45. Clear? So in simple Java program, guys, no complication, nothing. What have I done here? I have created a class called as employee and it is having three variables: ID, name, salary. Okay, and it is storing the values 101, Tom, 123.45, and the respective data types are int, string, and double. But what is my requirement, sir? What is my requirement, sir? I will create one more class. Okay, what will I do here? I will create one more class. Control N. I will have a class called as test class. open curly braces, close curly braces. Okay, now, and here I will have my main method, public static void main within parenthesis. It is string array of arguments. Okay, open curly braces, close. Let me save that particular file here. Okay, test dot, I have to write it as Java source file. I save it. Now, what is your requirement, sir? Okay, what is your requirement? I'll tell you. We are going to access, okay, non-static properties outside the class here. Okay, in another class. Okay, this is the program. So now let me try to do it over here. Okay, for the clarity here. So let us see what is happening over here. Let us see what is happening here. Okay, very simple part. Guys, just look at this program here. What am I trying to do here? Okay, so we have two classes. We have a class called as employee and we have a class called as test. So employee is having three non-static properties, correct? Three non-static variables. I want to access it outside the class. Is it possible? Yes. If it is in the same class or another class, it doesn't matter here. We have to always create an object here. So what am I supposed to do? Class name is employee, object name is emp equals to new employee of. Okay, done. I created an object. And once we created the object, we have stored all the non-static properties of employee class within the memory. So it doesn't matter, guys. Non-static properties, if it's in the same class or another class, blindly create an object. Okay, we created an object. After creating an object, if I want to print it, I have to always make use of system.out.println method. Correct. So if I want to print the ID, what will I do? Will I tell emp.id or directly ID? Sir, ID is a non-static variable present in employee class. Therefore, you created the object of employee class wherein you have stored all the non-static properties in the memory. And what is the object name? EMP. So you have to write it as emp.id, then emp.name, and then emp.salary. So this is what we are supposed to understand. Clear? Now I open the command prompt. Now in order to execute Java C, employee.java, I compile my Java program and then I also interpreted. Okay, when I interpreted, oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, there's some part here, public static. Oh, yeah, correct. So first of all, in this particular process here, okay, the reason I am getting an error over here is because I am trying to compile my main method. Correct, main method I compiled. Now when I try to interpret the employee class here, the compiler isn't going in search of the main method. Correct. So I am making use of multiple classes over here. In order to execute, I have to execute the class which has the main method, that is the test class. So therefore, I have to compile the test class here. Okay. When I compile the test class and when I interpret the test class here, look at the output. Did I get the expected output here? Yes. Why did I do this here? The reason is because, sir, this main method is wherein the execution will always start from, and main method is present in the test class. So you need to always compile the test class and interpret the test class. But the properties of employee class, you are utilizing it in the test class as well. This is all about the entire process. Okay, this is about accessing non-static properties in another class. And in the previous example, we saw non-static properties in the same class. We saw how do we access non-static properties in the same class. Okay, so this is all about, okay, what is class, what is object, and what is object creation. Clear? So let me have the quick wrap up of it so that we could have a question QA session wherein if at all you have any questions, you can let me know here. So these are the basic concepts which we did earlier, and then this topic will be very strong in you all. Okay, so here object, it's a real world entity, meaning it is a part of real world and physically existing. Correct? I gave a couple of examples. So object name, we relate it as class name. Generally we consider object name as class name, not all the time. Yeah, at times. States are variables, behaviors are methods. That's it. We took a couple of examples in understanding the respective states and behaviors, and then we understood what is a class. Class is a platform to store all the states and behaviors of an object. Correct? And we saw it's a blueprint, it's a logical entity. How do we create a class? What is the importance of it? Right? And then we also saw the execution perspective. Okay, what is it? If I have a student class, okay, and we need to understand if a variable is static or non-static. How do you differentiate it? If there is a static keyword, sir, it's a static variable. See, if there is a static keyword, it's a static variable. If there is no keyword called a static, it is non-static. So we know how do we differentiate between static and non-static, right? After that, there is something called as object creation. Why? Sir, if there are non-static properties in the memory, I have to always store it in the memory. I mean, sorry, non-static properties in my class, I have to store it within the memory. How? With the help of object creation. So what is object here in this instant, in this particular scenario here? Object is a copy or an instance of a class. Okay. So why do we create an object? To store all the non-static properties in the memory. Which operator is responsible? New. Correct. And where does the object get created? Heap area. And this particular point, we can create multiple objects which I have not explained in today's session, which I'll be doing it in tomorrow's session. Tomorrow we will understand something called as default values, reinitializing, multiple objects, everything. Okay. And how do we access those data here, non-static properties, with the help of dot operator. So in simple terms, if there is non-static, okay, if it is non-static, either in same class, okay, or another class, we have to blindly create an object. Okay, what are we supposed to do? Blindly create object here. Object creation is mandatory. We know the syntax, we know a couple of examples as well. Clear? So, and we saw the beautiful example about accessing non-static properties in the same class or in another class here. This is all about the actual content here. Clear? This is all about today's session, guys. Okay. So now, anyone having any questions, please do let me know. Okay. So there was one question I have answered most of you. Class name is equal to object name, or a new class name is equal to object name. No, generally class name is the object name here. That's it. Okay. So guys, any questions, anyone? Any queries in today's session? Okay, so there is one instance, sir, in which situation can we access non-static variables from another class? Okay, most of the time it is during encapsulation, Java bean class. Okay, it's like instances, guys. Okay, it's completely based on project scenario. But we generally make use of singleton design pattern, encapsulation perspective, then it becomes mandatory. Okay, now, so how to access non-static properties from outside the class? Okay, mandatory scenarios are Java bean class, encapsulation, singleton class. So these are all the future topics which I have to cover. Okay, so every topic will get the understanding a bit later. As I told you, day one only, Java is continuity language. Whatever I do today will be the prerequisite for tomorrow. Okay, so and it keeps on going. Okay, now perfect. I got one question. I hope I've answered this. Right. Next, any queries? Any queries? Guys, are you all sleeping? Morning, morning. Okay. Any questions, anyone? Any questions? Okay, very good. Very good. Okay. Now, I want you all to practice whatever we did in today's session. The reason being, this we have kick-started with the core part, right? So you all tend to forget it. Okay. So make sure practice it. Okay. And if at all you come across any doubts here, let me know here. Okay. So we'll try to do it. And one more small part, guys. Okay. One more small part here, which I have to tell here. From tomorrow, I won't be sending the link here. Okay. You have to join through Skillrary itself. Okay. So what are we supposed to do here? We are making use of an application. This is our own application. That is nothing but Skillrary. Okay. First here, what are we supposed to do? you have to sign up, guys. Go to Skillrary, first sign up. After that, you will receive an activation mail. Okay, you will receive an activation mail here. Once you get this activation mail here, click on it, and then you can start signing it. Then you can log in successfully. Once you log in successfully, first sign up, you'll get an activation mail. Okay, after that, try to log in. Once you try to log in here, what happens here? You will get a course. Okay, you will view a course called as JACM 63. Here it would be start meeting. Okay, you will have an option called as start meeting. So once you click on this start meeting, it will eventually redirect to go to meeting. So you have to log in through Skillrary from tomorrow. We will be doing it by today, end of the session. Okay, we'll try to get it sorted by today so that it won't be a problem in tomorrow's session. Okay, so for the people who all have joined the session through Skillrary, good. Okay, peaceful. You can all start practicing. If not, for the people who all encountered any issues here, first sign up into Skillrary, then you'll receive an activation mail, and then log in and you check, can you view the course called as JACM 63. You have to view course called as JACM 63. Then you'll have an option called as start meeting. Once you click on it, you will automatically get redirected to the platform here. Correct. So they have sent you one video, no, YouTube video. Okay. Go through that video here in the link here. Go through that video. You'll get to know the process of logging in. Correct. So this is one part. So what will you do today? First, today's topic, you will practice it, and then you will try to log in through Skillrary. If you are done here, then it's peaceful. Not a problem. Got it? Perfect. Great. Okay. And I'll just announce what are the companies which we came across yesterday. Okay. So that you'll all have a better clarity here. Okay. I'll tell you how many companies we had yesterday. Okay. So, and don't worry guys, you will also be attending very soon here. Okay, so that it will be very useful for you here. Okay, we had the first company called as Accent. Okay, we had a company called as Accent Automation. Then we had something called as Almavis. Okay, then we had Technofort, very good company. Okay, the company name is Technofort. Okay, and then yeah, True Reality. Fourth company is True Reality. Okay, yeah, we had 4 interviews yesterday. Okay, so and the new batches today at 12:30. Okay, today at 12:30, which class is starting for you all? Web class here. So you'll be attending my Java as well as web. Okay, so that you'll be completing multiple courses simultaneously, and the course duration will be comparatively less, and so that you can all attend the interviews as soon as possible. Who are all available in this particular times, attend. You'll have your Java session at 9 o'clock, and 12:30 will be your web. Okay, so try to attend those session. So we have a new batch on Java from Keshav sir, that's on 24th Monday, and Python batch as well. Okay, that's also on 24th at 7:30 a.m. Okay, so you can all follow our Instagram page, guys. You'll all get the latest updates about it as well. Okay, so you'll all be having 12:30 web classes. Do attend. Okay, so that you'll be attending multiple sessions. Okay, now any doubts, try to contact Chaitra here. Okay, she's our manager here. She'll get it done here. Okay, now great guys. Okay, so we're done with the session here. Okay, so I hope there's no questions. Okay, now done. Okay, so we'll wind up a session for today and catch up tomorrow. Okay, so thank you all. Take care. Bye bye. Have a nice day.